Hey guys, my name is Chantel. Welcome back to my channel and thanks for hanging out with me today. So, today we're going to go ahead and talk about Ace of Diamond Act 2 episode 18. So before I go ahead and talk about this week's episode, I do want to go ahead and apologize for not talking about last week's episode. It's just I felt that there really wasn't much for me to discuss, and I don't know, I just felt like there really wasn't a need for me to sit down, make a video, and talk to you guys about it because I really didn't have much to say. The only thing I really had a little bit to say was towards the end of that episode, which I will actually talk about in a little bit. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just dive into this week's episode. So this week's episode starts off where we last left off with Miyuki reminiscing about the time that he's had in the team and like the first time that he met someone and Furia specifically. And he's just thinking about just how far they have come along throughout this past year, and it made me really teary-eyed. Like, your girl was crying and like getting emotional, and then Miyuki saying that he's only got 3 months left and then that's it. I was like, no, like he had to come out and say it, and I was just kind of like, did you have to mention that right now? Because oh my god. But him saying that just kind of made me think about how the team will do without the current third years and how they're gonna adjust, because we've seen, you know, the current third years and the second years adjust without the previous third years. Now it's gonna be the new first years and the second years time to do that. And it's just, you know, it's life. Things go on and you move on, and that's just how things are. And it's kind of sad and it sucks because these current third years we spent so much time with that it's gonna feel really weird when they leave. I don't know. Anyway, going back to talking about Miyuki reminiscing, we actually get a moment between him and Kodamochi just talking about Samura and how he sat alone during the Ichidai and Taito match, I believe that was the match. Anyway, Ichidai. I'm stupid. I meant Inashiro, not Ichidai. What am I thinking? I'm so sorry. Anyway, as I was saying, the match between Taito and Inashiro, when Samura was sitting alone while he was watching that, it kind of got everybody thinking. I really like that we got that moment with Kodamochi, like him coming out and saying, hey, like, what's up with Samura? Was he mad at us? Because as the audience, I feel like, well, at least for me, I felt like Samura was mad at the team and like their decisions and stuff that they did, I guess. I don't know, because at this point we really don't know what Samura's thinking. Later on in the episode, we do find out his reasoning why he sat alone, and basically the reason why he sat alone was just kind of pretty much from what I remember and got from it was he just wanted to see how the pictures from Inashiro, which is Narumiya, and the picture from Taito, how they played, but also because he wants to understand Miyuki and the calls he makes. He wants to understand a little bit more, and he wants to have Miyuki acknowledge him. He's like, at this rate, he's not gonna like acknowledge me. And I was like, damn, like this boy is just looking so far ahead, and he's already like trying to figure out more ways to improve and to be that reliable pitcher and not seem unreliable, because this whole time he felt like he was unreliable, and because he was unreliable, that's why they didn't sub Furia out. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, Samura, like, I felt really bad for him, because like, yeah, Samura has had his struggles in the past, but like those struggles make him who he is, and it just kind of sucks because it's kind of like, well, like, he's improved, hasn't he? He's doing a good job. Like, I think he's reliable. So, like, I don't know. It's just really weird how the team just kind of has Furia, like, as this, like, up here, where Samura, I feel like, is down here. Even though Samura and him, I feel like, are just equally faulty, I guess. I don't know how else to describe that. Because clearly, right now, we're starting to see Furia crumble into bits and pieces, and he doesn't know how to get himself out of this rut that he's in. And with Furia, the thing that he came to terms with is that he wants his teammates to acknowledge him, and he wants to become the best player in Japan. That's his goal. But with Samura, like I said, yes, he wants to be the ace, but he wants everyone to acknowledge him and seem like a reliable pitcher, because at that point I feel like that was a wake-up call for him, and he was just like, no one really relies on me and expects much from me. So that's kind of, like I said, it's a bummer to really think about, and the way that they put it that way, it's just, it sucks. But anyway, Samura, as I said earlier, he wants to learn more about the calls and why Miyuki makes those calls. So it was really interesting to see Miyuki's take on that and kind of explain a little bit about that too. So that was really interesting to hear. And like I said, Samura is just kind of looking forward. He wants to keep improving and keep on going. He also starts to, in this episode, instead of going to watch the Ichidai and Inashiro match, he stays back and decides to practice his batting, which I thought was really, really cute. But one moment that I really like there while he was batting, because my boy, oh my gosh, my boy, he's so cute. He can only bat when he's on the bunt stance, which I think is really, really hilarious. But during that moment, we get like this monologue where he's thinking back on the stuff that all the previous 30 years have told him, specifically like Chris Senpai. Chris has been a huge, huge, huge role in Samura's life, and he is the reason why Samura is at his best, I think anyway. And, you know, he respects Chris Senpai a lot, and just the stuff that they've gone through in their relationship, I think is very, very beautiful. So I feel like seeing him like think about Chris and all the stuff that he's told Samura, and, you know, the other previous 30 years, like he's starting to realize that it's starting to seep into him. He's just like, oh my gosh, like I'm starting to get what they were saying, like what was behind those words that they told me. And he's starting to realize that everything that he's gone through and all those words and advice that his previous senpais have given him are starting to like become a part of him. Overall, just hearing Samura say that just made me realize just how much he's grown up and how much he's developed, and just how much more he wants to improve. And he's just, you know, he realizes that these words are like something more. Like I feel like just him saying that, maybe before he was just like, I don't get it, but now it's like, oh my god, I get it, you know? So yeah, that was really, really interesting. Anyway, but besides Samura, we also get a little bit of focus on Okumura, which was really, really interesting. I will have to say, when I was reading the manga, I didn't really like Okumura too much, but I feel like the anime is making me kind of like him a little bit better. I don't know what it is, which I think is really, really, really weird. I don't know, like I feel like I like him better just seeing him like talking and moving, you know, basically like animated. And I think it also has to do with his voice actor's performance. I don't know, like it's so weird because now I'm just like, oh, I'll catch myself being like, oh, I kind of like Okumura, which is really weird for me to say out loud, because like I said, when I was reading the manga, like I really wasn't that interested in him and I didn't really like him at all. Anyway, but I'm really glad that I do like him now. But going back to what I was trying to say about Okumura, we get a little bit of a flashback with him, his backstory, which was really, really interesting to see. So we basically knew already that he's been playing baseball for a while along with his best friend, and we see why he's just kind of this way. And the reason why he's this way is because his previous coach that used to teach them when they were kids, he always said, you know, you should enjoy baseball, and he seemed like this happy-go-lucky kind of coach. But then Okumura started to realize like he didn't have the most pure intentions, really, because the minute that their team lost, he decided to go somewhere else. Basically, point being, this coach left them for a better team, and I was like, oh my god, like what an asshole. And I do remember reading this in the manga, but I don't really, like I said, I don't really remember all the details. But seeing this, I was just like, man, oh man, like the coach, their previous coach is an ass. Because why would you leave your team for a better team? Like Like, I understand why Okumura would be a little bit sour about that. Like, I totally understand that. And I totally understand why he would be this way. And so, I guess guarded is the best way that I can describe that. And it was just really interesting how Okumura was like, you know what? Let's just use all the stuff that he taught us against him and let's win this because we can't lose this one. And I was like, Okumura, I'm with you. You better win this or else I'm gonna be pissed. Like, show that asshole of a coach, like, what he left behind. And I'm really glad that they won. And I'm really glad that Okumura, like, talked back to him and he was just like, how does it feel to lose to us, to a team that you taught and left for? And it was just like, the way that he said all these things to the coach, I was like, oh snap, like he went for it. Like, he was not holding back, and I'm glad because the coach really deserved that. But as I said, that really just makes you see why he's so to himself. And I really liked seeing that. And I really liked hearing Okumura say how he wants to believe that he can enjoy baseball. Like, it can be fun. It can't just be all seriousness. And like I said, this episode like made me realize, you know, Okumura really isn't that bad of a guy. He's just very, very awkward and guarded, and he just has a wild imagination when it comes to Miyuki, which is so freaking hilarious. He makes Miyuki like this bigger asshole. I mean, I get Miyuki is a little shit, but Okumura, you going a little bit wild with your imagination. But speaking of Okumura, he does get a little bit of a moment with Samura. And he kind of like tries to praise Samura, but also kind of insults him in the way, which I thought was freaking hilarious. And especially seeing Samura's reaction, like, I don't get this guy. But when he starts to, like, Okumura starts to praise him a little bit, he gets all happy and whatever. He's like, oh, maybe he's not a bad guy. But then he starts like kind of insulting him. He's just like, what the hell? Actually, no, it wasn't that he was insulting him, but because I believe Samura asked him, so, do you want to pitch for me? And Okumura's like, no. Like, he flat out, like, rejected him, and he's just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't get this guy. And at that moment, even me, myself, like, I was like, I don't get that either. But then hearing Okumura saying, he's like, I don't feel worthy enough to catch for you until, like, I actually make it on the first string, then I'll catch for you. And I was like, oh, okay. At least he acknowledges that he needs a little bit of improvement. I think him catching for Samura last time has made him realize, you know, oh my gosh, like, I'm not ready for Samura yet. And I think he realized just how big of a deal Miyuki is as well, like, to be able to catch Samura's pitches, because he realized, damn, these pitches are kind of hard to catch. So that's going to be really interesting to see how Okumura is going to improve and to see if he's going to make in the first ring, because I have no idea if he is or isn't. Like, this is going to be really interesting to see, especially because Yui is also a catcher. So I'm like really curious to see like who is going to be on the first string, because as of now, like, it's all like everyone does not have any numbers, so everyone's going to be picked for the roster very soon. So it's gonna be like a major battle for everyone, like trying to get their numbers, and who's gonna make it in the first ring is gonna be very interesting. I'm more curious to see like which of the first years are gonna make it. This is where things are gonna get real interesting, I feel, anyway. So, oh man. Hopefully Okumura makes it in the first ring, because I really would like to see him catch for Samura. And I definitely want to see the relationship develop a little bit more and see how it's gonna continue on, because like I said, I feel like now Okumura respects Samura just a little bit more. His first impression was like that he was annoying, he doesn't really deserve to be up on the mound because he's like so loud, and he didn't really expect so much out of him, but Samura proved him wrong. And he's just like, okay, I see why he's a big deal, why he's on the first ring, you know? So as I said, it's gonna be really interesting to see their relationship along the way and see how they get along in the future. Anyway, I think I rambled on long enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys liked hearing me ramble on about this week's episode, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!